some women have reported heavy periods or even breakthrough bleeding. Yet changes to menstruation are not listed as a possible side effect from the COVID-19 shot. CBS 2's Ariana Piper asked several OBGYNs if there is a correlation and what women can do about it.
I've had a few patients kind of mention it to me, but honestly, I've also heard it quite a bit from patients or about patients who've been infected with COVID-19.
Dr. Holly Kawano, an OBGYN at St. Luke's, says right now there isn't a ton of data on if the vaccine or COVID-19 has an effect on women's menstrual cycles, but studies are currently being conducted.
The Cleveland Clinic recently put out some information about this and talking about how it could have something to do with like immunologic cells and how those cells and those changes are normally involved in just kind of the general maintenance and breakdown of the uterine lining, which is kind of part of a normal menstrual cycle.
She says it's possible this process could cause irregular bleeding, but the data is lacking.
I think my biggest concern with people seeing this symptom is because the data is lacking. Women are feeling a little bit overlooked and ignored when it comes to this.
How do we know for sure this wouldn't cause, long-term issues or damage?
You have to go back to the data we have on vaccines that have been around for years and years. And these vaccines people could think of as new because we're using them to prevent a newer infection, but these vaccines are not necessarily new. The science behind them is not new.
Over at St. Alphonsus, Eve Prius, an OBGYN physician, says if a woman experiences changes with her period, she should track the changes and take it to her doctor.
Then they can notice if there really was a change, then that would be something to track. And what I consider something that would be worrisome or a pattern is a change that has occurred for 3 months or more.
She says this situation could point to a possible gender gap in the COVID-19 vaccine research.
The initially pregnant women weren't included in the original vaccine trials and people who were breastfeeding. And that's a huge disservice to women because we had such a lack of data, we couldn't make a good recommendation for that group.
Over at West Valley Medical Center, Dr. Jacinda Bitter says the risks of getting COVID outweigh the risk of having a menstrual change for a month or two.
We absolutely recommend getting the vaccine, even if we know that it might change menstrual cycles for a month, because again, we don't see any long-term harm with the menstruation or fertility.
Ariana Piper, CBS 2 News.